I think, if I'm not mistaken, this one was probably closer to $100,000 worth of work. So I think even at this number, I might have been able, if I could get them to agree to it, I might have been able to make $5,000. Okay.
Yeah.
So 5K assignment. For novation at 725 times 0.9, 652.5 minus 30K is 622.5. We actually came all the way up to 545, right?
That was a fat deal.
Making like $60,000, $70,000 on that deal.
Right. That's crazy.
Versus just cash. Yeah.
Versus a $5,000, assignment fee.
Right. Did you have to do any work to it?
Not a dime of work.
Wow. And if it does need work, do you give them credits or do you fix it?
Well, usually, yeah, we'll start with trying to offer concessions on the price. And then, but if it's a financing contingency where the lender requires certain things to be done, then we'll ask them, okay, does it have to be completed prior to escrow, or can it be scheduled and it be done after close of escrow? So that's the first step. If they're like, no, it has to be done before close of escrow, okay, then we'll reach out to contractors and we'll try to find a contractor that's okay with being paid at close of escrow, so we don't have to come out of pocket.
Epic.
Quick question. So you said if you went the novation route, of course, there's more meat on the bone, but if you went the cash route, you would only make 5K. What if that's more advantageous to the seller and he just wants that? Would you just say, okay, let's lock it up cash, get 5K and dip out?
Well, again, my contracts, right? I'm doing a 60-day close of escrow regardless, whether it's cash or novation. So it changes nothing for me. And I'm not necessarily telling them I'm going through the novation, but when I lock it up and I go through the agreement, we highlight, hey, this is our pre-marketing clause. This just gives us the ability to pre-market the property like a coming soon. So in their mind, right, it's still a cash deal. We're still closing on it cash. They're getting what they want. Right. So, hey, we'll property, blah, 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 and then we get to the novation and assignability. And it's like, yeah, pursuant to the pre-marketing, if we find somebody that wants to buy it while we're in escrow for cash, we're just going to assign it. And if we get somebody that brings a loan, we're going to novate it. This changes nothing for you. You still get the net number that we agreed to. Everything stays the same for you. It's just the mechanics of how we close. So really, it doesn't really bother you at all, right? And then I'll throw out this. This is a key line. Because again, when you're trying to just get somebody to fall in line with what you're doing, where a question could come up and it could be like a hurdle, you want to make it the most extreme scenario. So they just like, oh yeah, right? So what I'll say, the next clause, it says, REI Made Easy is entitled to the delta, right? Anything above and beyond this number. I'm like, so perfect example. Let's say, we pre-market the property and we get a buyer who's like, I think there's oil underneath this property and they want to pay us $1 billion for it. Well, you don't care, right? We're going to be entitled to anything above and beyond the $200,000 that we agreed to. And, such is luck, right? If he finds oil, great. We made $1 billion, but you don't care if we made $1 billion, right? Because you got the number you wanted. They're like, oh yeah, if you guys find oil on this, like good for you guys, right? Like that's the response I get every single time, right? And so they just roll along with it. Oh, I don't care if you make money above and beyond, right? That's what you're supposed to do. That's why you're in business.
Yeah.
So it avoids the hiccup of, oh, you're just trying to mark it up and sell it.
But also, you're also taking on the responsibilities of if things come up, it doesn't go back. Because RJ was saying this the other day too, like, if you don't have the funds to fall back on a novation and shit pops up, like it's not going to go according to plan, right? So if things pop up, you as a novation expert, you built a system where, you could handle those speed bumps, right? But if you don't have that fund where you can adapt, you're not going to help your seller, because if you negotiate, be like, hey, You know, the buyer says it needs this done because the foundation's cracked. Well, I don't have fucking money. Like, you're the buyer. You said you handle all of it, right? So going into it, you just have to be aware in your business where if things popped up and it required capital, you could weather the storm, right? And you built that within your business, right?
Yeah, and the reality is there can be things that come up that completely obliterate your deal, no matter what, right? We just had one in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
So we had this deal teed up. We had this deal fully teed up. It was all good to go. Buyer in place, going through inspections. We were going to make like $13,000 or $14,000. It wasn't going to be a big deal, but it wasn't going to. It should have been a cash deal, but it also could have been a novation. But when the buyer was going through inspections, turns out that the freaking foundation was just completely shot. Like, absolutely, it was basically a gingerbread house, and there was like $50,000 to $70,000 worth of foundation work that was unexpected on our side of the table. And the seller kind of knew about it, but even if the seller didn't know about it, we'd go back to the seller and be like, hey, this came up in inspections. Like, we appreciate you being honest about the condition to the extent of your knowledge, and that way you're doing a same side of the table discussion, right? You don't want to be negotiating on the other side. Right. And the analogy I give is picture a divorce proceeding, right? Where you're in divorce arbitration. Has anybody here gone through divorce?
Too young for that.
But you see it in the movies and the TV shows, right? You got this long lawyer table. You got an attorney and the wife, and then you got an attorney and the husband. And usually they're freaking screaming at each other and it's just an argument, right? You don't want it to be an argument. So same side of the table is like you're teaching your kid math, right? You come alongside them and you're helping them out. So we always come alongside the seller and it's like, hey, we appreciate your honesty. We're very forthcoming in the condition and everything. Unfortunately, something came up that I don't think any of us were expecting, right? So my job today is to get on with you and collaborate with you to figure out how we can resolve this and move forward amicably, right? And so now it's like we're working together on this problem that's affecting everybody. And then we go through the negotiation and say, God forbid we can't get this done at the current price. What kind of flexibility do you have? And this is after I've already rattled off the laundry list of things that it needs, like a whole new foundation that's going to cost us $50,000 to $60,000, which was not expected. This is a skinny deal in the first place. Nobody's getting rich off of this, but we obviously can't come out of pocket $50,000, $60,000 when there's no reserves to handle that. So what do we do, Mr. and Mrs. Jones? How do we resolve this?
Right. So 2 questions. What if I'm on a call and they ask me, oh, what is this program all about? And do I just I can't just say talk to my partner about it because I don't seem credible. So what would I do in that scenario?
Yeah, you absolutely can, right? You can just say, hey, you know what? That's a great question, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, my partner, Chris, he's the absolute expert. He'll be able to answer any of the questions that you have. I'm just really worried that if I start trying to explain it, I'm just going to butcher it and it's going to confuse. And if you guys are anything like my wife, if I go to my wife and I try to explain to her a plan that I have for something and it's not dialed, it doesn't matter if it's the greatest plan on planet Earth and it's going to save all of humanity. She checks out and wants nothing to do with it. So
it's like someone pitching a new sub 2 that's new to the community. They butcher it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to fuck it. They might know it, but they can't pitch it, right?
Yeah. I would hate to butcher this and this be the actual solution that you need, but you check out because I explained it improperly. So let me do this. Let me grab my partner, Chris. We can get him on a call. He'll go through the whole process with you, answer any questions. At the end of the day, there's no obligation for you to move forward with it. If by the end of the call with Chris, you don't feel comfortable moving forward, no problem. We part ways and we're still friends, right? Oh yeah, we're still friends. Cool. Easy peasy.
Right. I see. And what do we do in a scenario where I buy it up for cash or I lock it up for cash and then eventually I'm like, okay, it's not going to work for cash because of it's in too good condition or it's retail ready. How do we convert that into innovation with you?
Yeah. So if the numbers, like if you look at the as is values and there's room in it for it and you send it over, we can underwrite it and see. And if we determine, yeah, the numbers make sense, then you do a call with them and loop me in on a 3-way call, and I'll pull the rug out from under them. And basically I'll come in and I'll basically just kill the deal. Like, hey, so this is Mr. Jones. I'm one of the finance partners here at the company. So my job, unfortunately, sometimes this is what my job involves, and then I'm basically bringing them the reality of the fact that, like, unfortunately, based on all the numbers, the inspections, the condition, what we came up with, financing costs, and the state of the economy right now in the market,
Right.
I've got some bad news for you, and we want to take them on this roller coaster. So we pull the rug out from under them. They're like, ugh, right? Because their house is already sold. Once people sign a contract, they're committed to moving forward. They shelf the idea of selling their house anymore because it's already sold in their mind. So you pull the rug out from under, and then it's like, but I might have some good news for you.
Okay.
Oh, what's the good news? Well, we actually have this program, and how do you pronounce? Is it Sharon?
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason Sharon didn't bring it to you before was because, quite frankly, 1 out of 50 properties even qualifies for this program. And, when he brought this to me and the team, the underwriters and everything came and said that this deal wasn't going to work, I went ahead and I put it through the underwriting for this program. And I got great news for you guys. This property actually qualifies for our retail buyer program. Let me just explain exactly how that works. It gives you all the benefits of the cash number that Sharon had worked with you on, all the benefits of a cash sale. You get that guaranteed number in your pocket, net, minus any mortgage or debts that you have on it. And we get this across the finish line. So I'm going to walk you through the process, and then I just go through step by step, and I'll have the contract prepared. I'll have them open their email, and I'll walk them through, and I'll get them to initial and sign right then and there on the call.
I got you.
So
cool. That was very educational. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries, man. Anytime.
Could you also drop your number in there? I'll just have your contact ready.
Yeah, sure.
Chris, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
What up, Caesar? Doing good. How about you?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Still got your team out there doing your Saturday power hours?
We haven't been doing Power Hour for a while. We've been rethinking and reimagining it. I want to bring it back at some point here, but we'll see. We're just figuring it out. Plus, it's a lot of time, especially with the baby and everything. I don't get a ton of time during the week with the family. So,
got it.
How you been?
Doing all right, man. Just slinging ugly houses.
Nice.
Chris, really appreciate you going over all this, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no worries. By the way, if you guys have not checked out our YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and Real Estate Investing Made Easy. And we've got like hundreds of videos on there and stuff.
Yeah, drop your YouTube in the chat and I'll put it on the screen. If not, put it in the public chat and then I'll put it on the screen too.
Perfect. Yeah, so let's see.
Sometimes it doesn't let you guys post a link, so you have to let me post it.
Just subscribed.
Perfect.
Oh wait, Randy's at his real estate agent job, so he can't be on here closing deals today. Usually he's on here, but he asked Brandon, not sure if I missed it, but can you ask Chris who he uses for his cold call texting campaigns?
We have an in-house team that does our text message marketing. We used to run a company that would do text message marketing for other real estate investors nationwide. And so we built and scaled a team of VAs that did that, but eventually regulations started kicking in. The number of leads we were able to generate and the cost didn't really make a whole lot of sense for us to continue that business model. So we ended up, dialing that down and just focusing on our own campaigns and focusing on the real estate business.
What do you guys use?
Launch Control. Here, I'll actually
using them.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I'll give you a it's an affiliate link, so I'll get hooked up if you guys end up using them, but it gets you I forget what the bonus is that it gets you.
Oh, here, Randy said, oh yeah, launch control and like smart.
Yeah, we've used both. At one point, we were going to switch from launch control to smarter contact, and we did, and we tested it for a few months, and there were some benefits to it, but the challenges that we ran into exceeded the benefits, and so we actually switched back to launch control.
Oh wow, I'm using smarter contact. I've been thinking about looking at other options. Okay, that's good to know that you like them. How many messages do you guys send a day?
Depends on which account. We have 3 accounts. So I think on the highest account, we're sending out about 1,200 messages a day.
1,200?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not that much.
Per day, though.
Per day.
And we have 3 accounts. So one we're doing,
okay.
the other one we're doing about 700, and the other one we're doing about 300. So I think total across all 3 accounts, we're probably doing about 2,500 to 3,000 a day.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. 3,000, sometimes 5,000 between 2 accounts.
Nice. So,
but I was thinking about jumping off of it, but maybe it's not a good idea. After what
here's my affiliate link for launch control.
Did you send it?
Yeah.
There it is.
And Chris, I know Alex yesterday said that for AIF, some states have notarizations that are required. Are you doing that for every state no matter what? Like, are you getting it notarized, or does it not matter?
I never get it notarized. It's not necessary. So you just need to find a different agent, right? And, because the agent is going to list the property, right? So you sell the agent will just list it, right? Or with the flat fee MLS, you just go to them and they'll usually list it. So I've never really had any problems with it.
Chris, what would you recommend, like, for my business and my business only? I don't want to speak for anyone else, but we only want to do PPL because we were thinking about property leads, then adding county data, and pulling evictions, of course, like that, to diverse the lead costs. But that's based on us just using property leads, and we haven't really had a high conversion. So we're going to bring in those leads through the county data and kind of just do a little bit of both. But with us using just speed of lead, we don't want another option. We only want to focus on PPL. But once we get deals and deals and deals, you of course want to diversify your marketing for your leads, right? So if I'm only doing PPL and I'm doing some deals, when do I expand my horizon? If, of course, the PPL fills up, but you also want to add revenue stream. Like, would you say, if that's the case, maybe add a team that could handle that if I'm just doing closes with PPL? Or, like, when do you add another channel to your business if one's already dialed in? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question.
If that makes sense.
It's hard to say. Like what CRM are you using?
I just use Go High Level, so it's super easy.
Okay, got it. Do you have automated text messages to keep churning up your leads and stuff like that?
I removed text messages because we were doing PPL, so I didn't need to do automated, and I was running into undeliverables, so I didn't want to get fucked with ATP compliant. But adding buyers to the system and doing a lot more cold outreach to the buyers, we've been incorporating, like Caesar. I think it was a Caesar, or it was Alex, that as soon as they put buyers in the system, it sends a text automatically. And that's when I want to add. I just need to tweak my CRM so I don't get in text message jail, if you know what I mean.
How many leads do you have in your system?
PPL, probably like maybe 100 or 200.
Just total leads in general.
Just that.
Just 100 or so?
We only do PPL. Yeah, that's it. We don't.
Okay. I have 2,018 leads in my CRM. And I'm never okay, let me ask you this. When are you when you talk to somebody, what makes you remove somebody from your CRM?
I don't really remove them. So if I'm talking to you and it's a banger of a deal, I can lock it up. I could close you right now, right? Let's just say wrong price, high motivation. I'm going to hit you up in 2 weeks, right? And I'm just going to, instead of doing like follow up like normal, I'm changing my mindset of when I call you again, it's like a new lead again. I'm just trying to pivot and try it because I've been doing just follow ups, and I want to treat that next call as a new lead again. But, it's either a 14-day follow-up or a 1-month follow-up or a 3-month follow-up or a 6-month. So they're always in these loops, and depending on their motivation or price, I segment them based on the loop.
But you don't. So see, so it's just a very different mindset, right? Because I have a whole sequence of automated text messages that if a lead is in my CRM, they're getting, unless they're set aside in my manual callbacks because I've spoken to them and I have a reason why I want to call them back. Everybody in my CRM is getting text messages at some frequency, right? Because you never know. Like the worst pain you are ever going to feel in this business, aside from a deal blowing up and you not getting paid the day of closing and it getting completely lambasted and your SOL, is following up with a seller who's like, oh, I just signed a contract yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I've felt that probably a dozen times. And so we have automated text messages that go out at all different frequencies because I always want to be in front of them. And the moment time changes their circumstance and now they're ready to consider selling again, I want to be in front of them and I want them to respond to my text message so that now I'm teed up to just call them because time will change circumstance. And a perfect example of that is if I look at I have a report for marketing time to convert. What do you think the longest time that a lead has ever been in my CRM from the time it became a lead to the time we locked it up under contract?
I don't know. RJ had something like this and he said it was like 2 years.
599 days.
So that's a few years, right? And that's
basically almost 2 years. Another one, 584 days, 512. So these contracts, I've got at least 11. This is just 11 contracts that we locked up this year. 9 contracts that were locked up this year that were in our CRM for a year or longer.
So it's all about, because what I'm thinking, because like RJ says, get on the call. It's either a deal or not a deal. Like it's either you pass or, deal or no deal, right? So for me, when I put them in those follow-ups, like you said, things could change, but I don't want to talk to them if they're a 14-day follow-up or a 3-month follow-up, things compound. So I don't have time to call that person, but
yeah, that's why we have the automated text messages. Exactly.
In between that gap, send out text here. Like if this is a 1-month follow-up, maybe put a text automation here, like send a text every week.
Yep.
And I don't have to do that because I'm running into follow-ups being compounded. So I'm going back to my business and saying, hey, why am I reaching this person every 2 weeks when I know it's not a deal? Like I'm wasting my time, but that could be a text that's automatic.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. I don't want to follow up. I can't. It's impossible. And especially the length of my calls. Like if I get on a call and I pitch somebody, right, like from start to finish, and I make an offer and they accept my offer, I negotiate and accept my offer, I could be on the call for between an hour to an hour and a half going through the contract and everything with them, right? So like my process is very different from RJ Bates. And RJ Bates is great. He's like just churn. Like I focus on a lot of rapport building and, making a connection. Like I had a guy yesterday I talked to who's definitely distressed and he's going to sell his property at some point. But literally on the call, like we're talking about religion and, my adopted daughter and like how he fell away from the faith and how like, he respects people who are committed to their faith. And, and I'm telling him about how, hey, God is good when you're going through problems. Like we couldn't get pregnant for 8 years and now we have an adopted daughter who's an absolute blessing. And if I was in the middle of it, I wouldn't be able to tell you how God was good in that scenario. But looking back on it after we have our daughter, it's like, that's why we went through what we went through, because we wouldn't have our adopted daughter if it wasn't for, not being able to get pregnant. Right. And so like we connected on that, and he's like, I've been doing sales for 40 years. The guy's 85 years old. He's like, I've been doing sales for 40 years. Nobody has ever been able to connect with me the way that you have. And when I sell this house, I want to work with you.
Mm-hmm. Right. You're just a go-to guy when that time comes in his personal life. Because not all about us, it's about them too.
Yep.
1000%. It's only about them.
It's only about
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because they don't care about you. Like, and the other thing is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
It's my number one line.
Chris,
Love it.
Chris,
So
I have a pretty good looking deal that just came in. It's a fourplex, Kansas City.
Uh-huh.
And, ARV looks like it's 420. And can you guys hear that noise in the back?
The ringing?
You're good.
Yeah.
That's me.
Okay.
Mine's ringing too. But I'm thinking like it'll need about, the photos don't look too bad. So maybe like 50,000 in repairs. So 370 as is. So that would put it at about 300. The guy would take 325. So it's not like that far away as a novation deal.
Wait, how are you coming up with the as is value?
I'm thinking that it'll probably need about $50,000 in repairs.
Yeah, so I don't use that to come up with the as is value. What I look at is actual comps that have sold that are in its current as is condition, right?
Okay.
Because and so logically it might be like, okay, well, if it could sell for 420 and it needs 50, then it should be 370 right now. But there's also the opportunity cost and the time that it takes to do that. So it's not necessarily as black and white. You could have a scenario where that as is, like I've seen some where the ARV was 425, and to get to 425, it needed $50,000 worth of work. The ARV was 425 and it needed 50 grand of work. So you would think as is would be 375, but the as is comps were selling for 400.
Oh, wow.
Right. And then you could also have the opposite, right? You could have the as is comps selling at like 2.25, right?
Yeah.
So you have to look at what could it sell for, like what are comps selling for in like for like condition to that property.
Got it. Okay. Because everything in that area looks to be just like everything's fixed up. All the comps that I'm seeing are all fixed up.
Okay. And they're all selling at what, for?
393, 450.
What about actives? Look at active comps on market.
Let's see. I can share the address with you also, so you can take a look at the same time.
Yeah, no worries. I'm gonna
send it in the private chat.
I'll be right back. Just give me like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, Chris is dropping some gold.
Dude, he's dropping some gold.
I was just gonna drop that on the private chat. I came in late, but dude, he's a ton of knowledge, bro. His team is his team's really good. Him and Brad.
I used to be like, I need help with this. Help me, bro. Help me, Chris.
Yeah.
Like when we're all new and like we're infants, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, today's just a buyer day for me. I'm just trying to track down these buyers. One deal wasn't sticking. We couldn't get any walkthroughs, and Kathy was kind of stressed out. But then we're at the dog park, and someone inquired about this deal that we thought couldn't move, and it just changed her whole mindset. So she was super stoked. So when you think you can't unload a deal, well, we haven't unloaded it yet, but you just keep the ship moving, right? Don't veer off, and just keep the faith, right?
Yeah.
Man, these buyers aren't picking up. I got 4 deals to move. Well, 3. One's innovation, 3's cash, and 1 signed. I sent a contract yesterday. Remember, you and Kathy were talking about like Florida deal, and it was too good
The
to be true.
200,000.
Yeah. So I did a follow-up call, nothing on that one, but I don't get like he could just list it for somebody owner for like 300.
Yeah.
So something doesn't smell right, but
Yeah, that's what Kathy and I were
Isn't
saying.
it?
It's like
Isn't
there's
it, right?
something going on there inside that we're not able to see right now, you know?
Mhm.
But dude, I know Chris is dropping a lot of knowledge, and I actually have a lot of calls I gotta make. So I'm gonna do my own
That's what I'm
thing.
thinking in the background.
I'll hop back on later.
Yeah, if you got any good calls, let me know, and I'll bring them to the stage.
Well, no, but the thing is, like, he's dropping a lot of knowledge, and I know a lot of people are watching. So I think I'll go ahead and do my own thing, but I'll hop back on later.
Sweet, man.
Cool. You guys have a good one, man.
See you, bro. How many people are watching?
We got 18 live. I've never had this many people live. That's dope.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people find value because they see us and we're just normal people
Yeah.
doing deals.
All right. Actually, I have to call this seller and lock up this deal real quick.
Let's see it.
So let's dial this guy.
Yeah, I'm just doing some dispo follow-up, so I'm just kind of dropping in, dropping off.
No, I love talking about all this stuff. Yeah, I definitely get sucked down the rabbit hole, and
Yeah, when I was hosting my Zooms with Pace, you get so caught up in sharing knowledge, and you're like, "Fuck, I need to put my own mask on." So
I need to actually freaking make calls.
I get stuck in that all the time because I'm like, it's fun to talk about, you know.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
just like, shit, I need to work.
but until you're selling a course, it ain't making you money.
Yeah.
So, which by the way, you can sign up for our course right here at Real Estate Investing Made Easy. All right, so I'm gonna.
Where is that?
No, I'm joking. I mean, we have some stuff that we sell, but
I mean, I'm interested in learning more about the novation. So
I want to know about the novation, so I know what not to do, so I could structure my brain to send to someone else.
Hello.
Raphael.
Yeah,
Hey, it's Chris. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How was that Dolphins game yesterday?
Oh, dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had a beer and got sleepy. I probably watched half the first quarter,
Oh man.
and that's okay.
Yeah, well,
And went to bed.
good thing that you can record all that stuff and everything. You could just go back and rewatch anyway, right?
Right. I didn't have a dog in the fight anyway.
Okay. All right.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Can you call me right back? Because I'm hearing myself.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, let me try calling you
Yeah,
right
it's
back.
like a bad connection.
Okay. Yeah, I'll call you right back.
Okay, thanks.
All right. That might create a challenge. I've had that issue when calling through the speakerphone before. So let me call again.
If it gets too gnarly on our end, I'll just mute you, like if there's any feedback, but it was good on our end.
Okay.
Hello.
Raphael, you there?
I am.
All right.
That's
Perfect.
okay. I'm still hearing myself.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it's but no biggie. I can work through it.
Okay. All right. No worries, man. Well, yeah, glad we could reconnect here. So looks like, seems like we're all ready to move forward on the property there on Allisonville, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. So let's see here. So it's yourself and your wife, Chandra on title, right?
Correct.
Okay. Perfect. Is she available as well?
I'm sorry.
Is she available as well?
No, she is at work, but she's on board.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Do you have access to your email?
I do.
Okay. And then I will need her email basically so it'll send to you, and then I'll go through the agreement with you, kind of walk you through the process. And then once we go through and complete it, then it'll automatically forward to her. What's her email address?
It is, hang on one second.
No worries.
It is CD coffee 10 at gmail.com.
Okay, so CD as
Yes,
perfect.
like 10, the number 10, not 10.
Oh, the word 10.
No. The numeral 10.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, I didn't want you to put CD coffee 0.
Got
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yep. So CD coffee, the number 1, the number 0 at gmail.com.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. All right. So let me
Yeah,
just,
and I was thinking about something.
yeah.
I have not really done a whole lot of due diligence regarding the legitimacy of your company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm certainly not questioning it at all, but we live in interesting times.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So what questions specifically do you have?
Well, I looked you guys up online. You got a website and all that. If you could just email me, it's not, I wouldn't call it your charter, but in essence, that's what it would be. Like, do you have some literature that talks about who you are?
I
as a
mean,
company?
we have like literature on like our website.
Yeah. And it might just be your link.
Yeah. So I can text you that. It's pretty easy
that'd be
too.
great.
It's just www.lasprop.com.
Okay.
But I'll text that to you right now. And yeah, I mean, basically between the partners, been in business since 2009. Doing deals all over the country. Started out in San Diego and then expanded. We've had multiple different entities, because we do different exit strategies. We do long-term rentals, we do assisted living facilities, fix and flips, like all different types of stuff. So we've been around.
And I thought of you. I thought of you a couple of days ago because I think when you and I talked probably a month ago now, I said, shit, at the end of the day, so you guys could sell the damn property and make money. Just the property.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw like 81st in Allisonville, there's a half acre on sale for $125,000.
Mm.
I was like, oh, Jesus.
They just listed that?
Not too long ago.
Okay.
But it have to be within the last 2 weeks or so.
Got it. But it's just a vacant lot?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. What we've been seeing is a pretty massive slowdown in vacant lot sales as of late. So I wouldn't be shocked if it sits for quite a while.
Yeah.
We've had that happen a lot lately. Just because the building costs are so high, interest rates are so high, the time that it takes to go through development and everything is really challenging and, just super costly right now. And then all the developers are holding tight with the election because God knows what the heck's going to happen, in November. So.
Well, I'd say in that instance, if you're going to buy a lot, you better be a veteran.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And you better be building something like what do they call them? Barndominium.
Yep.
They're pretty. There's not much to the building.
Yeah.
Like a big old pole barn.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, that's a big thing these days. And then because we're based out of Southern California, and the big thing right now is ADUs because there's such a shortage of property out here, and there's no real land to build because there's so many canyons, right? So you have very limited space to build. So they have reduced the regulations for building accessory dwelling units. But so now everybody thinks their house is worth so much more because, oh, you could build an ADU,
Right.
but it's like, yeah, I could build an ADU, but like, how big is that going to be? Like your lot is only 4,000 square feet, and you've got a 2,000 square foot house. Like, what am I going to do? Build an ADU
Well, here,
yeah.
What you're seeing here, if it's a new construction, townhomes, they're depending on the right area.
Uh-huh.
There's a town that's just north of Indianapolis, that's a suburb.
Yep.
Carmel.
Oh yeah.
And I take my son to his workouts up in Carmel, and there's a road. I don't know how big the lot is, but they built a bunch of townhomes, and they're also, like I would imagine, they're probably, call it 1,400 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. They probably have a garage in the back. And in Carmel, those are probably going for $500,000.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Carmel's a hot market.
And I'm just like, geez,
Yeah.
I wish I'd have paid more attention in school. And I could just develop my own lot.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. I always think about, I'm like, man, I'm turning 42 in 7 days. And,
Young man.
yeah, man, I don't feel young after 12 years of jujitsu competitions. I definitely don't feel young at all, but, I'm like, man, I wish I could go back, 10, 15 years and tell myself to get into real estate back then.
Why don't you just be like Steven Seagal and, never kick, never get hit.
Yep. Exactly. That's funny.
Yeah, and just gets fatter and fatter every day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Well, all right. So I've got everything all set up for you. Should be in your inbox right now. You have access to your email?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see here.
Let's see where. Okay. Not in my spam yet, and not in my inbox yet.
Okay. Let's see. Sometimes it takes just a minute. Let's see here. Okay, that's usually the signal on my end that it's actually like left the outbox.
Okay. Yep, there it is.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So let me know when you get that opened up, and I'll just kind of walk you through the agreement.
Okay, I am.
All right. So you should see purchase contract for real estate at the very top.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So can you just confirm the spelling of you and your wife's name is correct right there?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. And then REI Made Easy Inc. is one of our entities that we typically will enter into contract under. Is the address for the property there all correct?
Yes.
Okay. I don't expect you to know the APN off the top of your head. We pull that from tax records. But if there's any errors with that, title will take care of that. So that's not a big deal. The next section, description of the property, it's as is. So basically, whatever the current condition is. Now, anything that is attached to the property basically is part of the property and is considered part of the property. Total purchase price that we had agreed to with you is we got them to come all the way up to the $660,000. And so the earnest money deposit is to make the contract legally binding, and then the remaining funds are paid out at close of escrow. Section 1 is closing costs. So all closing costs will be covered by the buyer, us. Section 2 is just any existing debt attached to the property. So this is any mortgage, any home equity lines of credit, any mechanic liens, any debt that's already pre-existing, that is paid by you, and it comes out of your proceeds at close of escrow. Okay.
There's only one mortgage on this joint.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. And then section 3 is tax proration. I believe Indiana, you guys post pay your taxes. So whatever the taxes that are due that you still owe, up to the date of closing, the title company will pull out of your proceeds. Okay.
Okay.
And then close of escrow will be as soon as practical, but no later than 60 days.
Okay.
Earnest money is held by the title and closing company. We have our inspection period, so we can do our due diligence, and just get like foundation inspections, just confirm condition like we discussed. Section 7 is access to the property. So basically we just need to be able to access it for the purpose of our inspections. We might have our agents and, other representatives of our company come through to the property. Okay.
Okay.
So at the bottom there on that first page, there's an initial box. If you click that, then it should give you the ability to apply your initial to that page.
Got it.
Okay. And then we'll scroll down the next page, occupancy of the property. So we're going to be closing on the property, and it should be vacant at close of escrow.
Okay.
Section 9, title documents. So we're going to get like a normal Alta residential owners policy. Section 10 is title delays. Very rarely does this ever come up, but let's say there was an issue with title where they're like, the great grandson of some guy who previously owned it says he has some sort of claim and we have to clear title and it causes a delay. It just allows us to extend the close of escrow so that title can clear up any of those title issues. Okay.
All right.
Section 11 is title insurance. If the title is not insurable, it gives us the ability to back out, because obviously we need to have insurable title.
Sure.
Section 12, and I've never had that come up. Section 12 is basically you have the right and authority to sell the property. You're describing it the way that it is, and it's going to be in the same condition as it is today at closing. And that, you understand any personal property left behind becomes part of the property and conveys with the property. Okay.
Okay.
Buyer disclosure. So we're not acting as this, but one of the principal owners of the company is a licensed agent in the state of California. They're obviously not operating in an agent capacity, but we have to disclose that by law. Section 14 and 15 are just default. Basically, we want to move forward to buy the house. You want to move forward to sell the house. So that's not an issue. Section 16 is pre-marketing. So all of our properties, the reason we're able to make the numbers work that we are able to come up to is because we pre-market our properties. And so kind of like a coming soon. So we might market the property out to find end buyers while we're in escrow. Okay. Section 17 is memorandum of contract. This just says that we're going to record our equitable interest in purchasing the property with the county so that they know that we're proceeding with a transaction on this property. Okay.
All right.
And then there's another initial box there. You can click that and then apply. Perfect. Then next page, section 18 and 19. These basically go along with that pre-marketing of the property. So 18 is assignability and novation. In the event while we're pre-marketing the property, let's say we find a buyer that says, I'm ready to buy the property with cash. It gives us the ability to assign our contract to that buyer prior to close of escrow, and will close, changes nothing for the price that we agreed to pay you, which is the $660. On the flip side, novation is in the event through pre-marketing we find somebody that's going to come with some sort of traditional mortgage, conventional FHA, VA, whatever it is, just gives us the ability to proceed with the transaction and then use their lender to process the transaction. And then 19 basically just says that we're entitled to the delta above and beyond what we agreed to with you. So if somebody says, I think there's oil underneath that property there and they want to pay us $1 billion for it, you're still going to get the 660 and we would get the whatever that is, $990 million. And
Well, that sucks, that would suck donkey balls.
That would suck donkey balls. And I'll be in the same boat with you. I'll probably be drinking a cocktail with you, drowning my tears because I won't see a dime of that either. So, so it would suck for both of us. But yeah, so we're entitled to the delta if we sell it for anything above and beyond the 660. And then section. Yeah, for sure.
But it won't be that much.
It won't be $1 billion.
I hope not.
Exactly. Right. Section 20 is basically just stating that the only agreement is what's written here in this agreement. There's no oral agreements or anything else.
Right.
And there's no additional terms or conditions on this particular agreement. So if you scroll down, you'll see there's a signature line. You click that, you can apply your signature. And then there's also a date box. You click that, and then it should pull up a calendar for you to select today's date. And then there should be an initial box as well on that page at the bottom.
Okay.
Perfect. And then we got a couple more things here. If you scroll down further, so this is authorization to sign listing docs and offers. So as we pre-market the property, this just gives us the ability to do that and not have to, go back and forth with you guys as we're pre-marketing the property. So you can click, there's a signature box there and then a date.
Got it.
And then if you scroll down further, the novation and indemnification agreement. This is just a bunch of terms and instructions for the escrow company. So in the event that while we're pre-marketing the property, if we find a buyer that is going to use a conventional loan or FHA or VA, this just gives the escrow company the proper instructions on how to perform that transaction and what they need to do. The main components for you is at the very top of that first page, you'll see the purchase price of $660.
Yes.
That's what you're getting. And on page 2, section 5 is net proceeds payable to seller is the $660. So those are the things that are relevant to you. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of that page, there's a signature line and a date line there.
Okay.
And then once you...
Friday the 13th, huh?
Friday the 13th. I didn't even realize that until you actually said it. That's funny. At least it's not October Friday the 13th. Then it's a little freakier.
Right. Indeed.
All right. So now that you've finished that, there should be a yellow button that pops up somewhere that says like finish or complete or something like that.
Okay.
And once you click that, then it will automatically finish your section, and then it'll immediately forward the email to your wife.
Okay.
And then she'll be able to go ahead and open it up and then, go through an initial and sign in the same spots and everything. And if you'd like, or if she, has questions or anything, I can hop on a call with her, answer any questions she has, walk her through the process. Or if she's like, nope, I'm good. If Raphael signed it, then I'm going to go ahead and initially sign, and, that's cool too.
What I would say is maybe, obviously I've signed all this. I'm actually sending her a text as we speak.
Okay. And I'll go, before we get off the phone, I'll go over the next steps and like what you can expect along the way, just so you guys kind of understand, you know, what's coming up along the way.
Okay. But yes, I think we're in a good space.
Okay, perfect. Where are you guys headed after this?
I've got a friend who has a vacant house,
Oh, nice.
so that would probably fill the bill for the short term.
Got it. Okay.
I had looked into buying a small lot because I don't really feel like cutting 3 acres every week anymore.
I don't blame you.
If I could, like I said, find and I've got a friend who's a builder.
Yep.
I am intrigued by the idea of getting building a property that's about a couple thousand square feet, and it's one of these metal structures.
Nice.
Not really, kind of a barn dominium where there's just not much to it. It's largely open space.
Mm-hmm.
So really you're talking about the shell.
Yep.
So that's kind of where my head is.
Nice.
Maybe in about a year.
Okay. Yeah, I've
And
seen
there's
some
no stress.
amazing.
No stress to move someplace quickly. So
Yeah,
that would help.
that's super helpful when you don't have that pressure where you have to get to that next step. Then, you know, it makes things a lot easier for you to really like think through and you know, do things, plan things accordingly. But I've seen some amazing barn dominiums, you know, like I'm always on like Instagram. You know, if you're on Instagram, I would search around, or on like Pinterest and stuff.
Instagram or Pinterest.
Yep. Yeah. There's a ton of awesome spaces. So, cool, man. Well, so I'll go over next steps with you. So here's kind of what you can expect. So once your wife goes through and completes the agreement, it's automatically going to notify our transaction coordination team that the agreement is complete, and that'll start the clock ticking and the ball rolling. So the next thing that'll happen, so it's Friday. So by Tuesday or Wednesday, you'll receive a phone call from our transaction coordination department. It'll probably be Carolina that reaches out to you. She'll review all the next steps. She'll probably have some additional questions for you that maybe we didn't get answered along the way, you know, just more details about the property. And then she'll schedule a time to get our photographer out there to take the necessary pictures of the property. You know, and then from there, we'll do, you know, some walkthroughs and stuff. And then we'll probably also have our agent that we use out there that markets all of our properties for us. She'll, you know, come out and connect with you guys and go over next steps as well. And then we'll just get the ball rolling. We'll be, you know, very communicative throughout the process, so you guys always know what's going on. And then yeah, we'll get this thing moved through the finish line and across the closing table and get you guys paid.
Okay. Sounds good. Is this your now, do you have a direct line? I need to call you.
What number is showing up? What's the last 4 digits?
0593.
Okay, no, let me give you the direct line in.
Just text it to me.
Okay, I'll do that.
And if I have any questions or concerns, I will give you a call.
Perfect. So I'm texting that to you now. And then if you don't get me, I'm on a lot of calls throughout the day and meetings, but if you leave a voicemail, that'll go right to me. And then I can reach back out to you shortly. You can also always text in, and the whole team see any text messages that come in, they go through our system. So the whole team sees it. So, somebody will get back to you, relatively quickly, and then, get the next steps going, help you out, whatever questions you guys have and everything. So.
Okay. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no worries. It's been a pleasure. And, I'm looking forward to getting this done and getting this over the finish line for you guys. And we'll go from there. So once doesn't look like your wife pulled it up yet. So whenever she does, once she gets that taken care of, like I said, it'll notify the team and they'll get the ball rolling from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Raphael. Have a great rest of your day.
Yep. Take care.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
All right. Let's go.
Contract calling. I love those.
Yeah, that was legit, dude. That one's going to be potentially $150,000 deal.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
I sent it over to my because I was like, what? I was like, I'm not sure about these numbers. So I sent it over to her, and she's like, I sent her all the notes on the condition, and she's like, yeah, minimum list 967. We're under contract at 660. So I said, okay, let's say she's wrong. She's super great, but like sometimes she's a little aggressive. So let's say we can only list it for 900 times 0.9 minus 660.
This is a cash deal that turned into a novation or a novation from the get-go?
No, this is I call them pre-marketing novations because we just pitch a cash offer, but the terms and everything are pursuant to a novation, and the contract is a novation contract, right? So I do it all. Everything's the same on every single call. The only time I go to the extent of like, hey, we're not the buyer, but we can bring the buyer is when a cash number just absolutely doesn't work. And I need to kind of pull the rug out from under them to get them down on their number to make it make sense and get the deal across the finish line. So I'll go that route. But if I can negotiate with them at a number that makes sense and not have to jump through those hoops to pitch it that way, because there's some uncertainty in that, right? It's like, well, you're not the buyer. What do you mean, right? So that kind of can create a little bit of uncertainty, and there's ways to work around it. But if I can avoid having to go down that conversation, I'm just going to lock it up and freaking go.
Definitely. Yeah, it's cool because when I send out contracts, our contract is probably similar on the cash. It's just 2 pages. And I say, hey, this is the date. This is the purchase price. This section, it shows that we need at least access to the property. This section shows like close of escrow. You kind of went line by line. I kind of like just gloss over it just to get in the sign. So it's just different ways to do things. So
yeah,
you went in super detail, which is pretty cool because I don't think I would go that far detail because I just want them to sign and I might butcher it. But with you going so far detailed, if I need to go that far detailed, like what if they ask a question on a certain item? I'm sure our contracts are probably similar, right, for cash wholesale.
Yeah.
Listening to you like go line by line and expressing what that means is pretty cool.
Yeah. And notice I go line by line, but I'm not reading verbatim what it says. I'm bullet pointing the actual clause, right? And the reason I want to do that is because if I read the whole thing, it's going to be super convoluted and it will raise questions. So I repackage, right? And this is something you can do when you're negotiating with sellers too, is when somebody has an objection, it's called rephrase and repackage, right? So if their objection is, I don't know, give me an objection that a seller has.
Well, you had one the other day was EMD.
EMD, right? Yeah. So EMD, if they're like, oh, well, you only have $100 EMD, that puts me at risk, right? I could address that risk, right? That perceived objection as a risk, or I could say, I got it. So what I'm hearing, Brandon, is that, what it really sounds like is that you're not necessarily concerned about the EMD. You just want to make sure that the deal closes and you get paid, right? Because you're not worried about $1,000 or $100, right? And then you get their agreement. So I just rephrased and repackaged his objection to be an objection that I could easily overcome, right? And then it's like, okay, got it. I appreciate your honesty and let me know that you don't really care about the EMD. You just care that the deal closes. And I could tell you, Brandon, in my experience doing this, if it got this far through the underwriting process and they approved it and they actually approved an increase in the offer, they're super confident in closing this transaction. They're not going to set aside those funds in that account for this property unless they fully intend to close on this transaction. And I can tell you with certainty that any property that we've entered into contract, we're not backing out of because we do all of our underwriting on the front end. So, I can guarantee you, we're going to move forward to the closing table and get this done, right? So I repackaged and rephrased that. It's the same thing with, some of the terms. Now, the terms, I don't want to completely I'm not going to tell them one term is something totally different, but I'm going to phrase it in a way that's super, super simple. So for example, notice I really didn't say anything about the inspection period. So the close of escrow line, this is what the close of escrow line says. Seller and buyer will set closing to be as soon as practical, but no later than 60 business days, and business days is bolded, after buyer's representative has provided buyer current approved pictures of the property. So technically, it's 60 days from the time, 60 business days from the time that we get photos. If I don't get photos for 30 days, then I've got 60 business days from then, right? We got the holidays coming up. You're probably talking about 90 days plus the time between now and when I get photos, right? So that's a long escrow, but I'm not saying all that. I'm just, bullet pointing. With the inspection period says the buyer's 60 business day inspection period will begin once buyer's representative has provided buyer current approved pictures of the property. Buyer and buyer's sole and absolute discretion may, through written notice to seller, cancel this contract during the inspection period, obtain a return of the earnest money deposit, and no additional instructions, title, escrow, attorney are necessary. Buyer wants to make sure that the house is in the condition seller explained. I didn't say any of that. I'm like, oh, we have our inspection period, just gives us the ability to, confirm condition based on what we discussed and everything. And then boom, move on to the next one, right? But here's the reason why I do hit every bullet point. And there's a video on our YouTube channel you can look up. It's from TikTok to testimonial. And I believe I referenced this in that video, if they come back and say, oh, you didn't tell me this, you didn't tell me that. When when you do novations, especially if it's not a full novation where you're telling them you're not the buyer and you're listing it and going through all these hoops, a lot of times it will come up, oh, you didn't tell me you guys were just listing. Yeah, exactly. But if I tell people, hey, all calls are monitored and recorded for quality and training purposes, right? And then when I go through and review the contract with them, I'm hey, we went through the contract. Remember, we told you about the pre-marketing clause where we pre-market the property to identify a buyer prior to us closing escrow. They can't say, nuh-uh. It's Mr. and Mrs. Jones, all calls are monitored and recorded for quality and training purposes. So I'm happy to pull the call recording for you if you'd like to hear that back. I understand you guys had a lot on your plate and you might not have understood it at the moment, but I can assure you that we went through everything in detail with you. And at the time, you guys were good with moving forward. We want to move forward pursuant to what we agreed upon and let our yes be our yes. All we're asking is that you move forward with what you agreed upon and let your yes be your yes. Can we just agree to move forward amicably based on what we agreed to originally? Is that fair? Mm-hmm. And get them over the finish line.
That makes sense. I got a question for you and Todd. Kathy was actually going to post this in RJ's group, but maybe you guys can answer it. But so in our contract, we had the $10 EMD, and it never really batted an eye. If they had motivation, they just fucking sign, right? Regardless of EMD, right? So we made it standard $10 EMD, kind of just like RJ, keep going on. But a lot of times, we just removed it from our contract, that EMD line from our contract. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know for sure if it would bring up any issues, but we sent it to a title company to open up escrow. And Kathy asked hey, we don't have EMD on our contract. Is that going to run into any issues? And she's like, no, it doesn't have to be on the contract at all. So with you guys, with so many deals you guys done, Does it have to be on the contract? Like, I just deleted it, me and Kathy. Is that bad, or what do you think, Todd?
In Michigan, the contract, you do not need an EMD. I don't have it on mine. What do they call it? The contract is the consideration, I guess, you know. But the only reason in other states, I'm not sure of the laws, you know, if it's legal or not. Maybe that's why RJ does that, because it might be different state by state.
Correct. And he's trying to just cast a bigger net, like deep.
Yeah. So I don't even. I tried it a couple of times on my first couple of deals with, and I just went back to I got a rock solid PA, you know, that I've been using for years. So, and you know, so I just went back to that. Because I'm doing all of Michigan, right? So
does yours have the $10 EMD on your contract? Like, well, you took it off because you're in Michigan, of course, but
I have no EMD. No EMD.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking,
as far as like,
go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so I've heard both sides of the table. I've heard some places say, yeah, EMD is not necessary. I've heard some people say it is necessary. It's not legally binding without it. Here's the thing. My agreement has EMD, but it doesn't state specifically at what point EMD is due. So I'm never, like, we almost never wire EMD unless a seller is asking the title company. And at that point, it's $100. I'll wire that EMD, because if the deal's not a deal and we have to back out at some point, we're going to back out within the inspection period and we're going to get that $100 back. But we generally don't wire the EMD. We'll identify a buyer and the buyer will wire EMD pursuant.
So you pass the buck. You pass it on to them.
Exactly. Yep. And so EMD gets wired by the buyer pursuant to whatever that contract is. And that's usually, like on a cash wholesale deal, it's going to be non-refundable EMD with no inspection period, unless it's a novation. And then that's a different, like, you're
different animal.
Yeah, you're dealing pursuant to retail transactions. And so you have to have contingencies for the lenders and all that stuff, so they can back out pretty much anytime. So
yeah, the EMD talk, like going into it, wholesaling, was so crazy. Then, you know, within being in RJ's group, you know, when he says $10, that's it, right? And at first I was like, oh my God, like, who's ever going to sign a contract for $10 EMD? But
it's all in your own head. Yeah, it's all in your own head. But here's the deal, right? The pushback that I would put on that, right? Because okay, $10, why not do $1? Why not do $1? Right? Like, there's a reason, whatever that reason is, but like, why not do $1? Right? And my thought process is, like, why create a point of friction that doesn't have to be a point of friction? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing a $10 or doing no EMD, right? Like, but, you know, if you're going to do EMD, like, I'll never do more than $1,000.
But that's only on a deal, you know, that's good and it's going to close, and it's more risk to reward.
Even if I'm not 100% sure that it's going to close, because again, I'm going to cancel within the inspection period if I find out that I can't close. So I'll get my EMD back.
So there's no risk.
So there's no risk, right? And you heard me on that call yesterday when the guy was pushing about EMD. He's like, oh, why can't you come up, you know, $5,000 or $1,000? I was like, first off, we're never going to come to $5,000. I might be able to get him stretched to $1,000. But here's the deal. That still doesn't give you the assurance that you're looking for, because I can guarantee you they've been in this business long enough to know that if there's even a hint of the property not being able to do what we need to do, they're going to cancel before the inspection period is up. So we would ride it out to the inspection period, cancel, we'd get our EMD back, and you'd still be in the same concerned boat that you're in. So that doesn't solve your problem. The problem you're trying to solve is making sure the deal closes. The way we get the deal closed is we enter into an agreement today, we move forward fast and get the job done at the numbers we discussed, because we underwrote it at those numbers for a reason. That's how
and like you hit on yesterday, then RJ always hits on too, like, EMD is just a magical number that no one will ever get. Like you'll never see my EMD. I'll die before that happens, right?
Exactly.
And I might explain it all. That's a good way to explain it, Chris. What I tell people too is I'm doing 10 plus deals at a time. And if I do $5,000 EMD, I got 50 grand or more out there just sitting there that I can't use, and I need to use my money all the time.
Well, not only that, so I told him that. I told him we do 50 deals a month, right? So that's $250,000 over a month. And the way I positioned, I was like, we don't use our own money because it would be an unwise business financial decision to use our own money, because that means it's not deployed making us money. And so what that means is that EMD is being borrowed from financial investors who want to see a return. So if I'm putting out $250,000 a month just for EMD at 10% interest, that's 25 grand a year per month of EMD that's out. That would be wildly irresponsible, and my number would be wildly lower on an offer for your house. I'm guessing you don't want a lower number, right? Well, no, definitely not. I want a higher number, actually. Like, okay, well, this is how we do it. So moving on, closing timeline is going to be, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. But it's all a smoke screen. It's something, a lot of times it's something that somebody told them they need to.
Exactly. An agent, usually it's a real estate agent they know of or someone.
Yep, exactly.
And what I've done in tech sales, they teach you this in tech sales, like you might have an objection, or Chris and Todd, and it's my job to just kind of brush over it. Like Todd might say, "Oh, how'd you get my number? I paid 5 cents for it. Let's keep moving on." Like you just brush. It's called is it RBF or something, like whatever. I forgot the terms, but when I get objections about EMD, my goal in my head is to get the fuck off of this conversation as fast as possible. So I do a little bit different. I'm say, that's our standard, like $10 EMD. That's my business. That's take it or leave it. Like I'm so hard in the sand. It might lead to not getting the deal, but I just go off the like, hey, this is how I run my business. I do $10 EMD. You're never going to get that money anyway, so why would I give you more? Like, do you want to sell the house or not? Like, I just steamroll over it. But what were you going to say, Todd?
No. I was agreeing with you. Yeah. A lot of times they just want. Yeah. No, that's a good way of doing it also. And if they still have an issue, then you could get into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah, the nitty gritty. Because Chris has that. No, well, I have a little bit after listening to Chris's calls yesterday than today to have that conversation more in depth. But with me not having that conversation or that knowledge of how to have that conversation, that's why I kind of just pushed through it. But with a little bit of knowledge from Chris shared yesterday, it does make sense. Like, hey, if I give you $1,000 EMD, but I'm also looking at 30 other deals nationwide, like I just can't do it, Mr. Seller. Like it's $10 EMD. I'm going to buy your house. We're going to close on this date. You're going to get your money. And I kind of just pushed through it. Yeah. But knowing from that other call with you, Chris, like that was pretty cool because it got me thinking like it all adds up, compound EMD.
Yep. Yeah. Well, another thing too, right? Always relate it back to why it benefits them, right? Feature, advantage, benefit. The feature is a low EMD. The advantage is it saves us money. The benefit for you is the fact that because we are lean as a company, we don't have exorbitant costs. It gives us the ability to offer you more than what anybody else is going to be able to offer you, which is why when I offered this to you a week and a half ago, you're still calling me back and you're not calling some other bozo back.
Yeah. Yep. It's all the confidence, the way you speak it, and you show confidence to they know you mean business for sure.
Yeah, 1,000%, man. And that's why, and it's with anything, right? Like if it's in your head, then it's gonna, like if you're in your head about it, kind of like you were like, oh, $10 EMD, how am I gonna do that? I've talked to other investors who are like, you do a 60-day close of escrow? What? 60 business days?
You do it because confidence.
How do you do that? What? And a 60-day inspection period? That's absolutely crazy. How do you get people to sign that? You know what I mean? Like, I can't get people to sign a 15-day close of escrow. I'm like,
It's just like confidence, huh?
yep, that's all it is. It has to be you. It's assume the sale, right? Just
Yeah.
assume the sale
Yeah.
is what it is. This is how we do it.
Then when I hear Todd on the phone, he's just so cool and calm. And if I'm a seller of a house, I trust Todd. Todd's not trying to sell me something. You could just hear it in his voice and his demeanor, and that's why I learned a lot from Todd on his calls, because I have a lot of energy. I think me and Chris are the same. Like, we love to talk, we love to share our knowledge, but sometimes, like Todd just presents himself as an expert with the lack of talking too. So there's different strategies, and we were going over with I forgot his name. I said, hey, you're going too fast on the call, and you came in like,
Corey.
hey, and you're like, hey, I take 4 seconds before I talk. I'm like, I'm gonna do that. I told Kathy, I'm like, that's a good idea, Todd. I told Kathy.
I was never like that. I would talk right after, and I'm getting way more better success by they just keep talking. I would always want to talk, and it would be, instead of, how they say you should be talking 20% of the time. And the way I used to do it, I would talk 50% of the time, but not anymore,
Yeah. The seller should always be talking more than you. And,
Yeah.
and then the other thing too, like if you guys, I'm sure you guys have probably read it, but if you haven't, definitely read Never Split the Difference. The audio book is amazing, but just the pauses, I'll flip my boom mic up too. Like if I think there's a propensity for me to like talk and interject and stuff, I'll flip my boom mic up so it automatically mutes me, because like there's times where I'll want to talk and I know
bite your tongue.
I gotta let it sit and bite my tongue, especially when, and this is, I think, like newer sales reps too, they struggle a lot where they'll make the offer, they'll shut up because everybody tells them, like, when you make the offer, shut up, they'll shut up. And then the moment the seller like says anything, they're like, oh, no way. They like, now it's like,
Pounce on it.
and it's like, just let it sit, let it breathe, let it marinate, because the stench of the low offer will go away. It'll evaporate, and sometimes I've caught myself where I wanted to chime in and I'm like, congratulations, they approved the offer, $137,298. And they're like, no way. And I'm just like, and then they start there's no way I can do that. I mean, what? But then they'll start giving you info and they'll start like reducing
the silence.
They'll talk to themselves. Like they think they're talking to themselves, but you're right there the whole time. And then they're like ratcheting down their number.
I did this really well, or I didn't know I did it really well until I listened to the call, and RJ did a review of me on his YouTube channel, and I was listening to the call where I got him down from 120 down to 40. He wanted to come up to 45. I didn't say yes or no. I just said, it's going to cost a lot of money. I was nice and slow. Then he's like, yeah, man, you're right. Fuck. Yeah, she'll take the 4. Like, I don't like, I just didn't talk. I set my, not anchor, but I set my number based on the profit calculator where I need to be in a range to make this deal move for the seller, regardless of my wholesale fee. Right. And I just sit back, like RJ says, you just sit back in the pocket. You just wait. And you could hear him. You could hear him think and process, like, I don't know if she'll go with that. Like, could we do 45? And I didn't say anything. I kind of just let it simmer. And he's like, oh, you're right. Let's do 40. Then he fucking called me back the next day and said, we're not selling the house. And he changed his mind. But that's after the call. Like I said, I did everything perfect on the call. He says he's not for sure if it's going to be a closed contract, but what I did on the call was perfect. Did I get the contract? No, but I did my job on that call.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And people oftentimes, I think, they're like, well, it didn't work this time, right? It's not about working this one time. It's about, you look at like baseball, for example, right? To be a Hall of Fame baseball player, you know what you have to do? You have to shit the bed 70% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you bat 300, which is 30%, that's 30% efficacy. If you can be good 30% of the time, you are a Hall of Fame baseball player in no uncertain terms, right?
You gotta show up.
But we focus so much on like the negative and, you know, all the times it went wrong. But like, yeah, but we get paid the big money because of the times that it went wrong. Because the times that it went wrong, the other times when it went right, we made $150,000 on an ovation deal.
And sometimes those are like easy, right? You're like, I can't, like RJ says, sometimes he feels bad making these big rips because he makes so much money and was so easy. But then you also think about right? So then you don't think about
That's
the hard calls. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You only see the success. They don't see the grind like we see every day, like on these calls. Like yesterday, I was just calling dispo buyers. I had no luck. It was a failure yesterday, but people don't see that. They just see the commission checks. They don't see how long it takes, like the sales cycle. That's why you always have to fill your pipeline.
It's like icebergs, man. You only see the tip of the iceberg. You don't see what's underneath.
Yeah.
But dude, one thing you should implement, like when you're negotiating and people are like trying to negotiate your number up. So you do the sigh, you're like, how do you expect me to do that, John?
Mm-hmm.
Because now they like anybody can say anything, and you could do this literally. You could try this with anything in life. Try it when you're out and somebody's talking to you about something, right? Like, you know, if it's politics, they're like, "Oh, we should give a $25,000 credit, down payment assistance to home buyers." How do you expect us to do that?
Who's paying
Now
for it?
they're forced to justify their position, and most people have not logically deduced their position to be able to fully justify it. And the moment they say, I don't know either. You're a smart guy. I don't know either. I don't know how you expect us to come all the way up to that number. I might be able to get them to move a couple inches, but what you're asking for is miles. How much closer to the number do you think you could get?
If because we have different strategies, of course. My strategy is I'm the decision maker. So if I'm the decision maker on the phone, but I want to take that strategy, like you're saying, how do I word it? If because we have different styles, right?
Yeah, I mean, so in that scenario, if you're going to be the decision maker, that's okay. Here's why I don't like being the decision maker, right? Mm-hmm. I don't like being the decision maker because my style is rapport based, right?
Correct.
I'm building a connection. I'm making a friend, and it's a two-way street, right? Like your friends are more willing to do things for you that a stranger might not do, but you're also willing to do things for your friends that a stranger might not do, right? So it becomes easier for you to give away things and come up too much, right? So that's the reason why I don't like being the decision maker. But with that being said, if you are the decision maker, you can still ask that question and then just use logic and reason, right? Like, Sharon, how do you expect me to come all the way up to $50,000? Let me explain. Do you mind if I share with you how we arrive at our numbers?
Like the cost, everything, right?
Right. And they'll say, well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please do. Like, okay, well, when we sell this, when it's fully renovated, we're going to sell it for $150,000. Now, when I do that, I'm going to have to pay a licensed agent to list it. I'm going to have to pay an agent who's going to represent the buyer. I'm going to have to pay closing costs, concessions, buyer requests for repairs, home warranties. And right now, because interest rates are between 6 and 7%, every single buyer is asking us for an interest rate buy down, which is $3,000 to $5,000. So that's 10% off the top. So now I'm at $135,000. In order for me to get the property up to that value, I'm going to have to put $60,000 worth of work into the property, right? And so now we're at $75,000. I haven't made a dime yet, Sharon. Now, in addition to that, with my holding costs, because as much as we buy cash, we have private investors. Many of them are, and here's where I plant the seed for them to become a private money lender. We have investors. Many of them are friends and family. But a lot of our investors are previous sellers who didn't know what to do with the equity that they pulled out when they sold, and they invested it into our business. They're looking for a return on a deal like this. It's probably going to cost me about $15,000. in financing costs over the time that it takes me to renovate the property and put it back on the market. So now I'm down to $60,000. And again, I haven't made a dime on the property. And you want me to come all the way up to $50,000, which barely leaves $10,000 for us in our pocket. God forbid one thing goes wrong, which we've been doing this long enough to know that something almost always goes wrong on a project. But God forbid one thing goes wrong and that $10,000 just evaporates like the freaking, like your sweat on a hot day outside.
Mm-hmm.
So how
sellers
need to come up to that number?
Because sellers think, you hear it all the time, no matter who you listen to, no matter what style you hear, as far as closing style, you always hear the seller say, you know, like, I wanted to get this, but I'll sell it for this. So like, there should be $100K worth of profit for you. No,
Yeah.
No, Mr. Seller. So for us, you know, how we beat them up on price or anything, we go to the profit calculator and say, hey, you know, if I fix up this property, it's going to worth 500 grand. I got closing costs. I got holding costs. I got renovation of this cost. I make no money by the time it's all said and done. So I'm in the business of making money. Yes, I need to give you a good number so you feel happy and you're good with the sale, but I need to make money on this. So I need to be lower.
Yep, exactly. And what I'll do when I go through that whole mathematical equation with them too, and I get them to come down there, like if you know that 90 to 95% of the time a problem comes up and it almost always eats into the leftover profit, and it could be anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 of a problem. If you were looking at a deal where best case scenario, you might make $5,000 to $10,000 if things don't go wrong. Would you be willing to risk your child's college fund for that?
Right. That's a good point.
What are you willing to put on the line? And if you are, why don't you fix it yourself?
Right. Just kind of like put it back in their court, huh?
Yeah, and then you're subtly circling back to their motivation. Why don't you do it yourself? Oh, well, because I don't have the money.
Or I'm retired or like disabled, huh?
Yep. Or, I don't have this, I don't have that. I'm not in a position. I don't know how to do that. Well, exactly. And that's why you're coming up with the numbers that you're coming up with, because you don't understand how to do this. This is our business. This is what we do day in, day out. We know the numbers to the penny. We know what we can do and what we can't do. And here's the deal. We got into this business to help people, right? And if I do the deal that you want me to do, and I do that over and over and over again, we're going to be out of business and we're not going to be able to help people. And that's our goal. We're here to help you sell your house.
You're educating the seller.
1,000%, right? It goes back to, they don't know anything. They're not skilled. They're not seasoned. Most of them have never sold a house in their life. They might sell one, maybe two houses ever if they're lucky, right? And we need to educate them on the process. And the more transparent we are, the more effective we can be in that, so yeah. But I digress. I want to make some calls.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to call this lady. It's a 14-day follow-up for a manufactured home retail price.
Where at?
Castleville, Texas.
Oh, got it. Okay. Nice.
Please leave your message for 830.
No pickup. Call her again. But yeah, if you guys got any comments or questions, drop in the chat. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll drop Chris's YouTube channel as well. Make sure you go check his out.
Please leave your message for 830-444-8768.
Hello, Irlanda. This is Brandon Clark. I was just calling about your property. I don't think we worked on a deal a few weeks ago, so I just wanted to see if you ended up selling it or you still have it available for sale, and hopefully we could run some numbers to see if we could help you out. Give me a call back, 760-823-8311. Thanks.
Okay. Let's see here.
I said this the other day too, like in wholesaling, like if you could break it down into 10 steps, right? At first it was so hard to look at a deal and send a contract. Now that's easy. It used to be hard to close a deal on the phone. Now that's easy. It used to be hard to comp on the phone. Now that's easy. Now the problems I'm running into is contract calls. So I need to make sure my calls are better to get them to sign on the phone, right? But once you master each step, like you create the whole, like the puzzle is almost done, right? You just got to master each step.
And you don't even have to master each step, right? You just need to get good at what you're good at and then outsource the rest, right? Like, sure, I could get good at all the TC stuff, but like, that's not my highest and best use. If I'm not locking up sellers, like, then I'm not operating at my highest and best,
Yeah, like my specialty, I think I'm good at talking to people. My closing skills are getting better. Kathy handles all the dispo. So, I do my job. I try to get the deal. Then she does her job because she's better at it to do the dispo. So we're not trying to split the load and do something half-assed on both sides. We're trying to just do what we're made to do, right?
Exactly. All right, I'm going to call this lady.
Sweet.
Hello.
Hello, Lynn. It's Chris.
I'm sorry.
Lynn, it's Chris. We spoke yesterday. You told me to give you a call anytime today.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Hi. Did I catch you at a bad time?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'm leaving on. There's a terrible echo. I'm leaving on Sunday and won't be back until the end of September. And I'm just running around. If you can call me after that.
After September?
Yes, end of September.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I can certainly do that. I'll send you a text once we get off the call here. But I know you had mentioned it was a different property that you were interested in possibly selling. But I don't think we had the address. It was like a townhouse over by Grossmont that you were considering selling. But I don't have the address and just wanted to update.
I can give it to you right now.
Okay, yeah, that'd be perfect.
9345 Lake Murray Boulevard, unit number letter D.
Okay, perfect.
And it's Shadow Glen.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So I'll update the system and then follow up. Is that tenant occupied or what's the situation?
Yes.
Oh, it is tenant occupied. Okay. When are they month to month or?
They're month to month, but I'm going to need them to be able to stay for the next 8 months due to a serious illness.
Oh, got it. They need to stay for 8 months.
Yeah, but I could sell it to someone if they will accept the continuation of the tenant.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, we can certainly discuss that. Obviously with California, they're, taking existing tenants in place presents a level of challenges and risk, as you can imagine with the tenant laws here in California. But it's certainly not out of the question. It's just a matter of making sure that everything makes sense,
Okay. They're friends of mine. It's very informal.
Got it. Okay. What, not to pry, I know you said it's like some health issues. I mean, are they going to be okay or?
Yeah, but they need some time to go through chemo and surgery and all that.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. All right.
Thank you. They're lovely people.
Okay. Well,
So,
I'll be keeping them in my prayers.
thank you.
And hopefully everything works out for them. But yeah, I'll put it in the calendar here to circle back with you towards the end of, you said towards the end of September or in the beginning of October?
How about like the After the 1st of October.
After the 1st. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. We can circle back then
Good.
and stay in touch. And if anything changes in the meantime, I'll shoot you a text so you have my contact info. Feel free to reach out anytime. We're local here in San Diego. So yeah, we can help out any way we can. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
No worries. Thank you, Lynn. You have a great rest of your day and have safe travels.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. God bless. Bye-bye.
I got a meeting with Randy in like 15 minutes, so I'll probably let you guys go still, and I'll just jump on mute if you guys are still gonna be calling. So I'll just jump on with him for a little bit. Oh shit. But yeah,
I'm probably
you guys keep
off here for a little bit and just go eat some lunch and take a breather for a minute. But yeah, if you guys, I'll put my I put my contact info in the chat, the private chat. So definitely hit me up if you guys need any help with anything or any deals. I know Todd, you're just doing deals in Detroit,
Michigan.
Okay, cool. I have a buddy that's doing a bunch of deals up in Michigan. He lives up in like Traverse City, but he does a lot in he was doing a lot of wholesaling up in the Detroit area.
Is his name Andrew?
It is.
Yeah, I know him well.
Nice.
He's my buddy too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man.
I just sold him one in Cadillac, one in Traverse City. Yeah, yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Very smart. Very smart.
Dude, he's a freaking rock star, man. Yeah. That guy, talk about being a jack of all trades. This guy, for everybody else who doesn't know, so he owned and managed a dental practice. He was also a CPA. And he's a real estate investor. Like, guys,
he just stopped wholesaling. Did you know that?
Yep. Yeah. He stopped wholesaling because he wants to focus more on acquiring property. Yep. So, which I've had that same thought process too, and just trying to figure out, what's going to be the better long-term play. Cause the wholesaling is just such a freaking hamster wheel, man.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I just like closing deals. I close a deal and I send it to Kathy and she disposed it. And like, what do you need me to do if you need help?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey Chris, are you related to Randy Couture?
Related to who?
Randy Couture. Have you heard that before?
Not the WWF guy?
I've heard that. No, UFC, Randy Couture. I've heard Chris Lieben. I've heard.
Oh, no, not Chris.
I don't think Chris Lieben.
Well, I'm talking about when Randy was younger, of course. Not.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. When I first shaved my head a few years ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I got Jason Statham. I was like, I don't see it.
I see that.
A little bit.
I see that.
The transporter of deals.
Oh, there you go. Transfer money from your account to my account.
Exactly.
All right, I got a SVA lead that just came in. I'm gonna lock it up.
Oh, nice. There we go.
Hey Chris, I was looking at one of my old leads, not old leads, one I'm still talking to. I'm just thinking about it. This might be a better innovation than it would be a cash deal, and it's like pretty much renovated. Do you want to take a look at it?
Yeah, send it over.
I have pictures too.
Is this it right here? Okay.
So. Yeah. Pretty much we agreed to 305. That's the price we got to.
Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just underwrite it real quick and then see what we think.
The person you're trying to reach is not
available. Also one of those weird areas.
Please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Yeah, the condition definitely looks more suitable for innovation.
Yeah, he recently renovated pretty much the entire place, like new roof, new windows, new HVAC, new water heater. Like he did everything. And then he got into divorce with his wife and he's like, screw this, I'm going to Portugal. I'm just trying to sell my house and get out.
Got it. Okay. So let's see here. So here, I'll present and underwrite the deal.
Maybe not this address.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
No worries. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so his estimate is 320. Let's see. So let's go
Yeah, I don't know how accurate this estimate is on this. I don't feel it is. That's my personal take. Also, the trees that you see in front, he cut those all out. Those are not there anymore. He spent like 30 grand on that.
Got it. Okay.
And I don't know if this really adds any value, but he sent me an email that HGTV is doing a show on his house. And it's airing on September 22nd. And he sent me the email, and I have the email. And I'm like very curious to see if that's actually true on the 22nd.
Why? What about?
Apparently, this house is like a very historic house, or like it has like a historical like nature to it in like this area. So it's like House Hunters. I mean, I've watched House Hunters before, but
person you're trying to reach is not
House
available.
Hunters is
At the
doing
tone,
some
please record your
show with
message.
this property in
When
it.
you
I
have
was like,
finished
dang.
recording, you may hang up.
Hi, Eugenia. I just, I'm calling you regarding your Santa Rosa property. You spoke with one of my team members. Give me a call back, and I'll try you back. 248-655-7296. Talk to you soon.
Man, that's kind of a tough one, man, because
Yeah.
like 1,000 square feet in the last 90 days, nothing is that size with that bed bath count.
It's like the only ones that are sold are like way bigger or way smaller.
Here's one that's 3,791 square feet. It's a 4.4, sold for 381, and it's
But that
kind
condition, I'm pretty sure I spoke to the realtor on that one. The condition of that wasn't pretty good.
wasn't pretty good, or was?
It was not good. Like it was like it needed repairs and etc.
Oh no, this one is like pretty nice actually. I mean, it's
Oh.
some of it's updated, some of it's not updated. So it's like
Is it the 310 Pinewood, that one?
yeah, yep. Yeah. But it's a different style house. Have you done any deals in Georgia?
No. It's kind of ironic because I'm from Georgia, but no,
Got it.
I have not.
Okay, I'm from Philly, and I'm just now doing my first deal in Philly. It's supposed to close this week or next week.
Also, it has a basement, by the way.
Is it finished?
It's if you look at the pictures, it's finished except the flooring has some water damage that I think the flooring needs to be a little bit replaced, but it's finished other than that.
That's where he's got like those sound
Yeah, the
panel
piano stuff. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So what's weird is he listed it earlier this year for 430, and then he had interest, but then that was when he was refinishing the basement. And then after he did the basement, he changed the price to 470. And he claims that he got interest, but he didn't end up selling it because he just wanted to keep it for himself and rent it out. And then he got divorced, and he was like, screw it, like I don't care what price, I just need to get out.
And he's willing to sell it to you for how much?
305.
305. So the other way you can do the math is you say 305 plus 30K divided by 0.9. So to make 30K,
370, 360, 370.
373. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can we see a justifiable 373? So let's, in the last 12 months,
It's just weird because there's new builds on that street, and then there's really old properties on that street. Like it's kind of all over the place.
yeah. Well, here's the deal. So if I go back 12 months between 1,700 and 4,000 square feet, and anything larger than a 3.2, and I'm just zoomed into that little section. So if I go, let me remove the boundary and draw a boundary. So if I go from down this V of Route 80 all the way down to where that kind of takes that swooping right turn, and then I just follow that over 301, and I follow
It's
all
like
the way up.
it's the bubble between the two yellow lines, right? The two highways, pretty much. You're doing.
Yeah. See here. Let me.
Just I can text you.
Here. This bubble right here.
What am I looking at?
Can you see it?
I can't see your screen. Do you send it somewhere?
I'm sharing it right now. I'm not. I hid the address, so.
I can't see your screen. I don't think so. No, I don't see it.
Let me try again.
You click present, right?
Yep. Try now.
I mean, your thing would show up on the live if you were able to share your screen.
Yeah, it has me presenting on my end. It shows my little window popped up and everything. Tells me stop screen share.
I mean, Alex, do you see a screen?
No.
I think Brandon might need to do something to make
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you're probably backstage. That's probably why. Brennan, could you put his screen sharing up real quick?
There we go. Yeah. So in that pocket.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
look.
1 second, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump on with Randy in a meeting, so I'll probably just leave this going and I'll jump on
That's fine.
the Zoom. So if you're saying something I can't hear you, just keep running it like this.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, the highest sold is 439. You know, and then you got these two. So this is that one I was telling you about, and then there's this one here. So, I mean, let's see what this one looks like. All right, so this one sold probably off market. Nope, they listed this one. So this one pending a month and a half basically, and sold for 20 grand under. Let's see what that looks like on realtor.com. Oh, they took pictures off there too. Sorry, this thing's being slow. I would say, you know, because it's hard to come up with, I would say it's worth locking it up at the number. And then we get an agent out there, you know, once we have it locked up, we have an agent review it.
Right.
And then get their take on it. And then if the number's way off, then we renegotiate. If the numbers are spot on, then, you know, we play ball, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I think we can't do it because he's still not yet, at least because he's waiting on his divorce papers to get finalized. Or does that not matter? Because I was trying to get past that objection, but he was like, "No, I want to wait till my divorce papers are done, so it's just me on title."
Well, let's see. Did you pull title to see if there's anybody else on it?
I did not pull title, but
okay. So let me check real quick. How old is this guy?
Like 50s, 60s, I think, or like probably 50s.
There's only one person on title, and it's not a dude.
You can see that on your end? Okay. Does the last name start with an L?
No.
What the hell? Is he lying to me?
He might be blowing smoke.
Maybe.
64-year-old woman. She's owned it since 2021. What's his last name?
LA starts with LA.
LAPP?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's weird. Okay, so there's a quick claim. Okay, so the lady on title, she has a hyphenated last name, and that's part of her last name. Is his
Right.
name Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So it looks like it got, so it looked like it was, so in 2023, he was on there with her.
Yeah,
and
he
she,
said something along like they were going through some court hearing and she lied about something about their insurance and he won some civil lawsuit against her. So now he's getting all of her life insurance or something like that with the property on it as well.
got it. As of right now, the tax records have her name on it.
Okay.
So,
But yeah, regardless, we can't go into contract until that is done. But I had like a LOI signed with him that he can't go into contract with anyone else other than like.
I would just get him to sign the contract. Like if
I
it's me,
tried to. I kept saying, he's like, nah, I don't want to do it until my name is on it. And then he's like, I'd be comfortable with like an LOI or some type of paper saying, oh, I'd just be going with you and I can't sign a contract with anyone else. So I kind of just sent him like something temporary, just saying you have to only go with me. And he was
got
fine
it.
with signing that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, once he's ready to go, I mean, I think we take a crack at it, you know,
Okay. Sure.
and then just reach out to an agent and then you know, confirm our numbers and, you know,
Okay.
go from there. Because it's kind of a hard one to comp. You know, the comps, all the house styles are not the same, and so it could go either way. I don't think it's necessarily far off, and because of the way it's renovated, I think, you know, there's definitely a chance that it could be up in that 375 to 400 range, you know, where there's profit.
Yeah, that's what I was struggling to. I just couldn't figure out what it would sell for. Like he kept saying 430, 470, but I just didn't believe him. Like there's no way it was going for that high.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it would certainly be one of the higher sold comps, you know, but even in that scenario, if somebody tells me that and I'm still questioning, I still go through and I'll just do the math. I'll say, okay, let's say it just sells for 400, right? Times 0.9 minus 30 grand. Well, if I can get it locked up at 330, then I still have a deal. What does he want to sell it to me for? 3.5. Like, okay, that's where in that type of, yes, Jenny Medina, I'm working the Tulsa, Oklahoma market. So if you got deals there.
Hey, I got a deal there, but I can't sell it.
Why not?
I think it just needs too much work. I have it for 10 grand, but it's 30 minutes from Tulsa. I think it just needs way too much work.
30 minutes from Tulsa?
Yeah.
What do you have it under contract for?
10 grand.
What are you trying to wholesale it for?
20.
And you're just not getting any traction?
Mm-mm.
Do you have investor lift?
Yeah.
Like the pro account or like the
pro account?
Oh, got it. Okay. So the pro account, you got to pull, like, I mean, I could push it out and see if anybody is interested on, because I have like the top tier account.
Okay.
And try to see if we can get any buyers on it. Yeah, I mean, email it over and I'll have, so use those 2 emails that I put in the chat and then, you know, we can underwrite it and just double check numbers and see if we think we could possibly move it.
All right. Let me go ahead and send that over to you.
Hawk said this is an actual house for 10K. Yeah, bro. Contrary to popular belief, there's some houses. We got a house right now for 10K that we're selling for 24.
Oh yeah.
So pretty much, even if it needs like a new roof or something, that won't count as like a novation, right? Pretty much.
Say that again.
If it needs like a new roof, that won't count towards a novation.
It could count as an ovation, right? But you're going to limit your buyer pool, right? So needing a new roof is one of those things where I'll take a risk on that because you know it's all going to come down to the inspector, right? Like, sure, it could be a crappy roof and should get a new roof, but like, is that something the inspector, the appraiser for the lender is going to call out and say it absolutely needs to be redone? Yeah. Or are they going to let it slide? And, you know, it could be as minimal as like some patchwork, or it could be a whole new roof. And again, I can find a buyer who's coming in FHA or VA, and I tell them like, hey, we can do the new roof. We just need it to add it to the purchase price, and we'll get it done for you. And then it'll just be rolled in your monthly payments. So it's not going to change your payment very much. So not really a big deal. And if they're good to go with that, then we do that. And then we find a roofer that'll be willing to be paid out of closed escrow.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah, Hawk, definitely need to go down south with your deals.
My dispo is about to send that over to you, Chris.
Okay, perfect.
And you were going to say something, Sharon?
Yeah, it's because like there's like two I'm talking to that I want to lock up as cash, but I'm just like so iffy on it because they're tight. But now when you say novation, I'm like, this might be a perfect novation for both of them. Do you want to take a look at this other one, or do you have time? Like, I can send it over real quick.
Just send them to the email because I'm going to hop off.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
But yeah, send them to me and my underwriter. We'll underwrite them. And then, so anytime you have a deal, just send one there. Just put the address in the subject line, and then any info you have, condition-wise and everything, send it over. Okay. And then we'll underwrite it. If there's any questions that we have about it, my underwriter will reach out to you via email and get any other information. And then, you know, we won't just say, oh, no, this is a stupid deal, peace out. You know, he'll be like, no, if for it to be a deal, it would need to be this, or it would need to be that, or whatever.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
I'll send you the fourplex too, because it, based off of what you told me to look for sold properties. I mean, there's duplexes going for $374, and mine's a fourplex. And then,
what are you under contract on the fourplex?
That's the one that we talked about. That lead just came in for. He wanted 320, 325 to 320 to 350. I just talked to him not too long ago, and he'll sell it if the price is right. But remember, I couldn't find any like as is. All the comps I saw were all fixed up at about ARV 400, 420.
Jenny, you can check your Facebook.
And it's in pretty good condition. They're rented right now. He can get 1,100, but he's getting 950 right now.
Got it. Okay. I don't know if that reply got to Jenny or not.
No, I did. I see it.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off here.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate all the info, man. That was good education.
Thank you so much.
That was amazing.
Yeah, no worries. Hit me up anytime you guys need anything, and you know, happy to do deals together, or you know, just help out any way I can.
Pretty sure we will definitely be in touch. So
awesome. Sounds good. Peace.
Sounds good. Appreciate it. Peace.
All right, let's get some deals here real quick.
Yeah. Honestly, that was worth not taking a couple calls.
Yeah.
You got any contracts today?
Almost. Almost just need
Gotcha.
one more person on board. 2 people are on board, and just one's being a hardhead, but they're gonna talk to her and try and get her down.
Gotcha.
He crushed it when he was getting that contract signed.
I wasn't on call. I had a work meeting. He got one on call online,
Yeah.
like the whole process.
Well, I think he just got one, had the husband's signature, and needed to get. I'm not sure if he got the wife. I also had to step out, but I know he got the
Okay.
husband.
Yeah,
But
I'll probably
he
go
was-
back and rewatch it.
Yeah, he crushed. I guess this video is going to be on YouTube.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because that was
I mean,
awesome.
I see a little bit of like Eric Klein in it, a little bit of Eric Klein's process in it, a little bit, but he also has his own way. It works. It definitely is, but he's different for sure than what RJ does.
Oh yeah. Hey, Esteban?
Yes.
This is Alex calling about your property on North Wheeling Avenue.
Alex.
Sí, usted habló con uno de mis socios hace como unos... Ok, listo. Bueno, gracias.
Okay, bueno. Okay.
Didn't want to sell. I figured a Spanish call is useless.
Why is that?
Because not a lot of people speak Spanish, I guess. You know Spanish?
I like that. Okay. No.
Yeah.
Brennan, it's time for the wheel, dude. Oh, he's not paying attention.
He's in a meeting.
How did you get the SVA locked up?
No, she didn't answer. But
Todd.
I just
Go ahead. Sorry.
just hired a lead manager that's what I was on the phone with. He used to work with me. He's from the Philippines. He speaks better than I do.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Where do you have acquisitions?
I'm the acquisitions baby.
Nice. I just hired an acquisitions today.
Nice.
But yeah, I need a lead manager too.
Yeah, that's
What is the role of the lead manager?
It's like a follow-up
just
specialist.
follow-up specialist, and
I see.
yeah, and just warming things up. He can close deals also, but I'm not really expecting that to happen.
Gotcha.
Maybe eventually, but I want to be talking to the people that want to sell myself, you know.
Yeah. If you ever
So he
need
just goes back to
acquisitions,
the old leads.
Yeah, I get about 200 to 250 pre-foreclosures every week. So
dang.
he's probably going to jump on the dialer and try to reach them, you know.
Yeah. If you ever need acquisitions, I can help out with that. I hire in Mexico.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a little bit cheaper. But they have like solid English, no accent.
Awesome.
Dang.
You mainly
How do you
buy in
find them, like
Detroit?
on Facebook groups?
No, Indeed.
I see.
Yeah. So then I have them like to apply, they have to send me a message to my business WhatsApp. And from there, I can just listen to them answering the questions and listen to the accent.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you just buy in Detroit?
Just all of Michigan.
All Michigan.
Yeah.
And mainly cold calling, texting, PPL.
Really property leads and pre-foreclosures and foreclosures are my main
Got it.
source of business.
Very nice.
Cold calling is just too it's just you got to call so many to get somebody. It's just not worth the time, you know. For me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. I mean, I do it. I keep it going just because I have not that many. I have 3 cold callers, but every now and then they'll pop out with like all my biggest deals this year have been cold call leads. So like they'll pay off and have some more profit. Don't spend that much on it either.
Nice.
Yeah. So what do you do with your pre-foreclosures and foreclosures? How do you reach out to them?
I skip trace them and I call them.
Ah, okay.
And if it's a great deal, I'll pay someone $50 to go knock on a door and drop off a note or try to reach them for me.
Gotcha.
Sharon, the text you sent me, was that for the Escada property?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. For some reason, even I had 2 people, or actually 3 people, all 3 of them say the location wasn't good.
Yeah. Let me check with my son about Alex. Anything else with Escada today? With the okay.
What happened?
He's been calling and texting and emailing a bunch of people. So
Gotcha.
he's, through investor base, we've been hounding him.
I think we might have to decrease it even more or renegotiate.
No, I think we could lower it, but what's that?
Guys, I'm gonna jump off of here.
Peace.
See you, man.
Guys.
Hey Siri, call Tim Kish.
Calling Tim Kish, mobile.
Come on.
Your call has been forwarded to voice.
So the SVA lead, I called, left the, then I text, and then I called again and left a voice message, and he just responded. He said, I'm still trying to convince my wife, but she wants more for the house. So I'm going to respond back. How much? Let's see what he says.
Todd, remember that condo I showed you once? That 1290, something like that. It was like I said 170 ARV, etc.
What city?
Niles?
Yeah.
This was a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up getting that closed actually.
Did you?
I got that. Yeah. It was one of those like niche buyers. This was like an agent who was buying it for his mother.
Yeah.
So it worked out that way.
I got it right here.
Oh yeah, that one. So it worked out, and it works because this guy is like a huge investor. He has like over 150 rentals in the area. He's constantly buying fix and flips, multifamilies, or anything like that. So it was like a win-win in every scenario because I found a buyer there and I got a deal.
So the buyer, was he gonna use it as a rental?
No. He's gonna fix it up and have his parents live there.
Oh yeah, that they'll pay more, right, for something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah.
That made you feel good, right?
It did. It's closing next Friday, but yeah.
Sweet. I had a closing today, a 4-family in Detroit that needed everything. And when I got it under contract, and it's in a bad area. So when I got it under contract, it was really more than I. Yeah, no problem.
I lost you there.
I was just my quick question was, that one, I'm trying to, the one I sent you in the Detroit that went to auction?
Oh, yeah, the one on Prairie.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to see if there was any other links?
Let me see what I got.
So, and I know she was married. Her husband died a long time ago, so I was hoping a death certificate would be good, and something like that.
So it looks like she might have a little. There might be a second mortgage on here.
Yeah. So
they're both with the same lender, though. It looks like. Yeah.
So the one that went to auction. Let me tell you what the date was, because it shows on the legal news. All right, here it is. Because it was a smaller amount, I'm thinking it might be the second. It says the one that went to auction was November 10th, 2006, or October 10th.
One, yeah.
So she might have a first, right?
Maybe. It's hard. It's hard to tell, because she took out one mortgage in 2005 with Charter One and another one in 2006.
Right.
But I'm not seeing a discharge for the 2005, so she could have very well refinanced. But I'm just wondering if they have both mortgages, why would the second one get foreclosed on?
Yeah, I don't think she would have refinanced. But I guess when I'm gonna get her to sign the PA and authorization form, and then we could get to the bottom of it. It still might be a good deal, even if she owes both.
Right.
But
yeah, it doesn't. They're not big mortgages, either of them. So
yeah. So Burnell, her husband, do you think? How would we know if we needed to probate something like that, or?
No, I think they're entitled together. Let's see.
But he died, so would that be okay with the death certificate? Or?
Check. Make sure they're on his husband and wife.
Because it looks like there was a quick claim done to her not too long ago. I don't know why.
Let's see. Burnell married his wife. Yeah, she's fine. She did this right. She just did an extra quick claim deed when he died, even though that's not necessary, because she has this death certificate. They were on title as husband and wife, so they won't have to do probate.
Okay, awesome. All right then. What I will do then is, like I said, I'll get the authorization form. It'll have your information and my information on it, so we could
Perfect. Yeah.
For the title.
Like that might be one. Yeah, I got a guy today, some random guy connected with. I'm gonna give him send him your way. He's looking. He's like an end buyer. Just random end buyer guy looking for like off-market properties. So.
Okay. Yeah. Send it out.
I think his name is Dave, and he lives up like Lapeer Way or something. So.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what he needs, but I'll put you in touch with him.
All right. I'll give him a call. Appreciate that.
All right. Cool.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Bye.
right. You out of here? All right. Were you on today's call for TU?
Yeah, I was.
How was it? I couldn't make it.
Oh, it was pretty good. It was just like a comp review. Pretty much, they went over one of Alex's thing he submitted. It's pretty much like how RJ went through like a whole seller call yesterday. She did like a whole comp review with everyone, which is pretty good.
Four nine 39734 is not available.
Hey, Robert. How you doing, sir? My name's Todd. I am calling you regarding your property there in Saginaw that is scheduled to go to auction on the 27th. Give me a call. I'd like to help you. You have quite a few options, so give me a call. The sooner you call, the more options you actually have. So my number is 248-714-0561. Talk to you soon.
Press 1 now to continue this call in English.
Sorry I missed your call. Leave a message and I'll call you back as soon as I can. Thank you.
Yes, hi, Robert. My name's Todd. I am calling you regarding your property there on Cemetery Road that's scheduled to go to auction on the 25th. Give me a call. I want to see how I can help you, possibly even stop the auction from happening on the 25th, and just give you some other options also. My number is 248-714-0561. Talk to you soon.
Hey, Brennan, I'm gonna head out. Peace.
See you, brother.
Cheers, yeah. Peace.
You dropping to?
No, I'll stay on. I'm good.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm on the meeting with Randy on Zoom, just going over processes. So
Okay.
you guys stick around. I might be on for a little bit, but yeah, Todd, if you got some calls, just keep going.
All right. Cool.
Sweet, bro.
Sounds good.
Did I miss anything cool?
No, sir.
No? I think the meeting start when Chris jumped off the phone. Let me see here. Today was a slow day, dispo day. Let's see here. What time is it? 2:20. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. Should we get ready for the beach? Nice. Should we take Momo or take her for a walk first? Let me see here. Don't know if Jenny, you're still on. Did you send the deal to Chris? I think I saw that in the chat. What day is it? Friday? But Todd, I think I'm gonna bounce. I'll probably wrap up the show, but yeah, thanks you guys for viewing the channel. We got a lot of views. I think we got up to like 20 at a time on the live, so that's pretty dope. Thanks to you guys for jumping on here and watching us close some deals, talk strategy. But we'll be back live on Monday as usual, right after RJ's calls or at 8 a.m. PST. But thanks for you guys for showing up. Thanks, Todd, for always being on here. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
You guys have a good weekend.
All right.
See you, Todd.